Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Circle of the Earth Fellowship. I hope that y'all are excited to be with us tonight. We're excited to talk about this topic. And I think it could be kind of a divisive one because it looked like we lost a few subscribers when I first posted the schedule. Kind of a big group, actually. But we'll get into the topic here in a little bit. As always, let's go ahead and say hello to all those that are on the panel. And then we'll get into a little housekeeping, and then we'll get into the subject. So first and foremost, we'll jump to you, Marcia. Welcome, sister. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. I fixed it. Shabbat Shalom. It is indeed there. I fixed it, though. So it's not going to go through everyone. It was just partially through Marcia's. I did it this time. It wasn't perfect, but I saved it so people could hear you. So.
Very good. It's me. Bye. Hi. Go down to Robert.
We're going to give each of us a mic check for those who are in the chat. Please, if you say, hey, Vader, we can't hear you. Hey, Marcia, we can't hear you. Robert, whoever, let me know in the chat right now, and then we will adjust them and keep going as we go through everyone. So hopefully this will just be like the last time we do a mic check. It's good, and then we don't have to worry about doing it anymore. So, Marcia.
That'd be awesome. Okay,
welcome, Shabbat Shalom system.
Shabbat Shalom, and glad to be here.
Awesome.
Robert.
Sweet. Okay. And then we'll jump over to you, brother Robert. Good to see you, brother.
Frankie V's not here, so, Marsha. Got the ginger going
ginger
on.
Okay, I'm
sorry. I had to do it. Hey, glad to be here tonight. Shalom.
Shalom.
No, not Shabbat no more. Shabbat's all done. So, glad to be here. Go to the next.
Awesome. And then last but not least, we got our brother Kyle back with us. He was sick last one, so glad to have him back and healthy and ready to talk about some gravy. So welcome, brother. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I assume for you. For me, it's the sun is down, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Shalom to everyone. Yeah. I appreciate you having me on. Say again, Marshall.
Did you get sick from the plane ride?
I mean, that's what everyone who I told I was sick was saying is from the plane. But
typically, people get sick.
I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
Well, typical. It's typical after a plane ride. So there you go.
It probably was.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's good to be here. Awesome subject.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. And I'm gonna check chat real quick and see what they're saying about sound. I don't see anyone saying anything. If anyone had issues with anyone's volume, please let me know in chat. I'll be sure to look at it. I'm gonna go ahead and say hello to those who are in chat. We got Mark Merritt Asher with us. Welcome, brother. We also have Justin Credible. Welcome, brother. It was great to talk to you the other day. Edwin Messenger, welcome. Lisa 888 girl, welcome, sister. Sweet, good to see you all over there. And we got Janine Miller over on Take of the World, as well as Terry is particular. Let's see what she says. Sunset already for me.
Sound is okay by Edwin.
Awesome. Okay, if sound is awesome, that's awesome to hear. It means people won't leave because they won't be able to hear people. If sound is okay, if it's not good, if you mean okay, it's not good, then any type of insight would be awesome into who particularly you can't hear or isn't loud enough. That'd be awesome. Okay, sweet. Let's get into the housekeeping real quick, and then we will get on to the subject, which is, like I said, pretty loaded with gravy. Let's bring this up for everyone to see. Perfect. Make this big. Awesome. So first and foremost, I always like to shout out to Chris and Liz Bailey over on Take on the World. They allow us to come onto their platform and share our puzzle pieces with their community, with their family. So we really do appreciate that, and always want to show them the gratitude from it. And of course, if you haven't heard, we have our own channel, Circle of the Earth Fellowship. Check it out if you'd like to support us in subscribers or likes or shares or anything like that. It does help the channel grow. And so yeah, and we do a live stream every Saturday, and we have a new series coming up called that we're currently doing called Peace Seekers. We're currently reading through the Testament of 12 Patriarchs. Tomorrow we will be reading the next one, so check that out if you're interested. As always, we read the comments from the last videos. Our last subject was propaganda. And leading to the fire, of course, is what they're after with their propaganda. And we like to read the comments from the last videos. I swear all of these were already loaded, but apparently not. We got 2 over on Take on the World. Moonglow coming through as always, saying thank you, welcome, we appreciate that. BBDJ Net Sareem said, don't know if you guys know this, but Florida is also the base ingredient in Prozac. In addition, there's a lawsuit currently trying to remove fluoride from the water supply. It's coming up soon. I think it's a federal lawsuit. Check it out. Very interesting. That is super duper interesting. Also, well, I'm lucky enough that my county does not put it in the water. So we appreciate that as well. So thank you for the comments, guys. It does help us. It does support the channel, gets it more visible. And PJ Davis said, Circle the Earth Fellowship, you're fantastic. Let's be friends and have fun. Agreed. Thank you for the love there. We do appreciate it, and again, it does help the channel grow. If you'd ever like to join the conversation, join the panel. Discord is the place to do it. A link is in the description below. If you would like to support the channel, we do have a merch store, so you get something out of your donation, and you get some cool merch as well. And a couple resources we that I like to use personally is Bible Gateway, great resource. Bible Hub, tons of resources here. Check it out if you're interested. Also like the sacredtext.com. This is the Apocrypha. Check out the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, very beautiful. And again, we are reading through the Testaments of the Patriarch currently in our new series Peace Seekers on Sundays. So check that out again if you're interested. Sweet. Okay, that's all of the housekeeping that we're going to do. So let me go ahead and drop that real quick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the description of the video like I did last time. If this will stop freaking out. Come on, you can do it. It literally won't close. Okay, I'm going to have to close each. Okay, did it go? There it goes. Okay, sweet. Perfect. Scoot up a little bit so low in the camera. All right, so today we're talking about atoms and nukes, guys, and I know it's a pretty dark. I know it's a very deep subject because a lot of people, definitely, those, kind of not necessarily elder, but those that are, in the later generations, they grew up, they knew, they saw, they read news about these events, about this, about the atoms and the discovery, and about nukes in it, and even now in our current generations, do we not have that same thing, right? Where
Yeah.
it's still a fear. The atoms, they're still discovering all these new things all the time. And if you dig into those, past the veneer, there's not really any substance to them. It's a lot of computer generated images and models. So, of course, we'll get into that here in a little bit. I'm going to read off kind of a little funny thing. Let me see real quickly, guys. Give me just 1 second. I want to do something real quick. Oh, it won't let me do it like that. So I have to... Oh, I need to go here. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I want to add something.
All right.
Not to y'all. I want to add it for chat, but I got to do it in a particular way. And add media. Oh, I just need image. And almost done, guys. Sweet.
Dun, 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 dun.
So with this topic, I just wanted to, I'm going to back up a little bit. With this topic, I do recognize that it can be divisive, and I'm not trying to be divisive. I just think as truth seekers, as people really seeking the truth, we should be willing to be humble with any subject that we've ever learned, whether a scriptural topic idea or a, quote unquote, with an actual scientifical idea, right? Or a logical idea. And so I get that it can be divisive. That's not the point. But we do want to show how, and as you've kind of seen through the series, if you've been watching, that our main point is say, hey, there's all these things that they want you to be afraid of. Here's why you don't have to be afraid. And I know for some people that can be traumatic, but I think if you really think about it, it's going to be worth
Well,
it.
I'm old enough where I can say, get over it.
Nice.
I have the authority of a senior citizen.
Nice. Let me see here. I think I'm almost there. Oh, perfect. Okay, which one? I guess this one. We'll just do this one. That's fine. Open. Like that. Did it grab? I'm just making sure it grabbed it. Oh, I don't know if it did. Okay, if it doesn't, then I'll just say.
Did you put a link
whatever.
in the chat? Is that what you tried to do?
No, I'm trying to do a GIF. Oh, here we go. Okay, sweet, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for everyone, and put it on the screen for everyone. All right.
Yay. We like gifts,
right,
don't we?
See this, guys? Meet Adam. Meet Adam. Although they, them make up 100% of physical reality, they are actually 99.99% empty space. Despite the desire for equality, some atoms are much stronger than others and can summon destructive power as if they were God themselves. Yet, we are presented with evidence that is shown to be false or outright fabrications, and history is often recited to double down on this peril. Was the term nuke organically constructed? Does 99.99% nothing make up 100% of everything? Join us as we discuss the topics of atoms and nukes, their implications for our and future generations' lives, from the perspective of believers seeking the puzzle pieces of truth. So I hope y'all are excited with all that in mind. And yeah, so I kind of want to hear from y'all before we start getting into the sharing and stuff of where you're at with atoms, where you're at with nukes. Before we get into the presentation of the videos and things we got. So we're going to kind of go down through the line. Let's start with you, Marcia.
Well, I was a believer of nukes and the atom bomb and them cutting that little atom, splicing it to where it can make that big mushroom cloud, and it's bunk. TNT can do that. A lot of TNT can make a mushroom cloud. So it's just, I'm angry actually that every time we have a week of things, Vader, it's something else I'm angry that I've been lied to about. And it's just kind of, I've gotten over it, and then it's kind of like, oh man, I was so long thinking those lies, all those lies.
Yeah, and see, interesting thing that you brought up is we're not saying that they don't have big bombs. We're not saying that they can't create huge explosions. Not at all. What we're saying is the whole idea of taking these particular atoms and splitting them in such a way that it causes such a huge explosion. That is what we're talking about. We're talking also, right, the splitting of the atom. We're trying to split the atom in people's minds to say, guys, they give you this idea of this atom, but they literally, with their own science, will through one mouth show you that they have proof exists, while through the other show you that by the law they can't, right? They can't know it. They can't know what it is. And so and what does that give us? It gives us our modern day quantum physics, dark matter, off 97% because they have no idea what they're talking about, but they're getting paid millions of dollars to talk about
billions.
Yeah, if not billions, right? So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. Robert, let's hear from you, brother. What are your thoughts? Real quick shout out. If you haven't checked out, he actually has the camo hat, Circle of the Earth logo, modern design, and then he also has the the puzzle piece logo t-shirt.
Old school one. Old school, he called it.
Nice, sweet. So, what are your thoughts about nukes? Where are you with atoms, and kind of what you think about the subjects?
I guess I would say that I am agnostic over the topic.
I like it.
So,
I didn't know
atoms. Atoms. I know you can't see them. They can't picture them. The microscope can't picture them. Anytime you look anything up, they have images. Not unlike whenever you look up pictures of the Earth, it's always images, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got that. You got, they said, I was trying to find the information about, I thought that someone had said at one point that you can compress all of the actual matter that's in an atom into some small basketball size thing. Everything of the universe, right?
Smaller than a pencil.
I couldn't
It's
find
smaller
that.
than a pencil.
As far as the nuclear bombs, I guess the denial of nuclear bombs flies in the face of us talking about them trying to blow up the dome with the nukes.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think they're trying to blow up the dome.
That was what, Operation Dominant?
Project Fishbowl.
Fishbowl. Yeah.
So there's some questions out there. Certainly they could have had a big enough TNT bombs or carpet bombing to make it look like we had this devastating one-time bomb. But
didn't they have one
over that little island in the Pacific? So
didn't they do it in Beirut or something? Do that big, and look at that mushroom cloud, and it came from TNT.
They call it the
Moab or something. Mother of all bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dropped it out of a carrier.
Yeah, it's TNT.
Whatever.
And it'll give a big mushroom cloud.
Yes. Look just like a, yes.
Yeah. And I get that, right? Like with a lot of the topics that most Americans were taught, we were taught very similar things, even though, kind of agendas changed over the generations. A lot of those key factors of what the general knowledge and history that we were taught, was pretty much the same. And that includes events like Nagasaki, Hiroshima, the testing of the nuclear weapons during Operation Dominic Fishbowl, in Nevada, right, in the 50s. And then, which is kind of interesting, people typically attach, nuclear bombs and the splitting of an atom to nuclear power generation, right? Even though they're vastly different things, they use, right, a similar, the similar element, the same element or similar element to do it. Okay, so real quick, just to clarify for people, nuclear power plants use a metal that is going through basically such fast radioactive decay that it is literally producing heat. And they put those rods of that material into water. That water boils, that water heats and goes through this pressurized chamber that then spins turbines that then produces electricity. And so they're not splitting atoms or anything. They're using a material to run a big steam engine through a high pressured system. Okay, that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about the atom, right? And the nuke, meaning they take this, a single atom and they can split it, and it has so much force, right? That all equals mc squared. Einstein married his cousin twice. I mean, energy equals mass times the constant of light squared, right? So it's like they have these obscene things, right? And then all this propaganda, right? With tons of movies. How many movies can y'all think about? We got a great example up here, right? Of how many movies have you seen these scenes of nukes blowing up and devastating, cities or devastating, areas. And so not only is it within our history, and people again double down on that peril, but they also are bombarded through entertainment and all sorts of nuclear weapons and their impacts upon the world and life and etc. So let's start here. One of the first things, right, we know about about nukes is supposedly from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you didn't ask Kyle what he thought.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Kyle. You're totally right.
How dare you?
It's all right. I was okay with you skipping me.
No,
how dare you?
Nope, how dare me. Kyle, what are your thoughts, my kind sir?
All right, I'll give my opinion. Okay. I'll preface it like this: the theory of atomism, that everything in matter breaks down into these tiny infinitesimal little units of matter that they can spin around in a machine and clash into each other, it's just a theory at that. I think they're getting better at looking at deeper into a picture and seeing what's there, but I think it's still a lot of mysticism at this point. And as far as nuclear bombs go themselves, I don't necessarily see support for the science as far as the explosion being granted by the matter. And there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of trick photography that has gone on in these nuclear bomb, atomic bomb footage that it's like it reminds me of NASA, let's just say that, where I get these red flags where someone's been manipulating the video footage and they're trying to get me to believe something that isn't actually there. And so, as you'll see, maybe in this episode, we can delve into some of that. But there is a difference between your nuclear power plants a nuclear bomb and the theory of atomism. They're all different subjects that do relate to one another on the nuclear scale, I guess.
Yeah, and we're not really so focused on nuclear power because, again, that's really just using things that are really hot to boil water. We're really focusing on the atom itself, right, as if it even exists, because, you know, and we'll talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the two known, through history, the two known uses of a nuclear weapon, which is Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japanese during World War II. And there's interesting thing, but we're gonna have span kind of time now, closer to now as well. But yeah, we're gonna start off with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So let me share this so y'all can all check it out as we show the stream. Bring this big up for everyone. All right, so this is in Columbia EDU. So let's see what they say. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the long-term health effects. What are the long-term health effects from the two atomic bombs dropped on the human populations? Many survivors feared nothing would grow on the decimated Earth. By the spring of 1946 arrived, citizens of Hiroshima were surprised to find the landscape dotted with blooming red petals of the oleander. The oleander flower, called the, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that in Japanese, dispelled worries that the destroyed city had lost all its fertile and inspired the population with hope that Hiroshima would soon recover from the tragic bombing. Now, the official flower of Hiroshima, the oleander, offers a beautiful symbol for the whole city as a whole. While some feared that the city and its population were irreparably destroyed, permanently cut off from the normality by the effects of radiation, many would be surprised to learn of the limited long-term health effects the nuclear attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 have had. Yeah. All right, so.
You're kind of grinning while you said that.
I was grinning about that really because it's funny to me.
It is funny.
They're saying right there that they were all so surprised that the long-term effects that were not predicted, guys. It was inevitable that these bombs. Now I'm gonna pull something up real quick while we talk. I'm gonna drop this real quick so it's not messing up screen. But I'm gonna play a video real quick that I just thought about. So remember what we just read. We just read that the people were surprised in both areas, right? That the long-term health effects weren't as bad as it was said that they were going to be. And so I'm gonna pull up a video of it coming from Steal the Bike Tyson's own mouth. So let's pull up. Oh.
You need us to turn our cameras off?
Yeah, let's go ahead and shut cameras off. And pull this up.
See them wearing masks outside.
This is for fair use purposes. We are just critiquing the video that we are about to watch. I am going to put the episode thing up, guys, so that I do not get completely destroyed on YouTube censorship side. So put this down to 50. Perfect. And
You got to put a disclaimer or something? I don't know.
Right.
I clicked it. I just don't know.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
All Maybe a little bit less dark.
Yeah.
Let's go half of that. Okay. All right, let's see this conversation real quick. We're not going to be playing all of this, but remember we just read that the actual long-term effects were not as bad as they said. And this...
My question was, if we can do that, if we can hit the asteroid, could we do that with nuclear weapons? Because it's getting a little chippy out there with Putin. And I don't, I mean, I love Ukraine, but do I love them enough to get radiated?
But you can't do nothing, right? I mean, if in fact there's a tactical nuke that's used by Putin, obviously there needs to be a response.
Okay.
Well, plus modern nukes don't have the radiation problem. Just
What was that? What were you saying, Steal the Bike?
What?
We lost the technology in the 60s. So.
Yes, we lost the
You still
technology.
blow to smithereens, but yeah, it's a different kind of weapon than the Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Nuclear weapons, if they're exploded, don't have a radiation problem?
Not if it's hydrogen bombs, no. Not in the way that we used to have to worry about it with fallout and all the rest of that. What you really have to worry about is being vaporized, and after that, if you're not vaporized, blown to bits by the shockwave. That's a way bigger problem that you're going to have.
Oh. If you're talking, Vader, I don't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Is that right, Neil? Did it used to be a big problem, but now it's not a big problem? Now it's just blowing the big smithereens? Interesting, because many would be surprised to learn of the limited long-term effects of nuclear attacks on both those places, Neil. So it only was a real thing in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but yet in Colombia they're saying that they would be surprised that it was limited long-term effects. Which one is it, Neil? The victims of Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings remembered at vigil. This is another thing that they like to do in these situations. They put it through and they change it into an emotional one in which all these people are remembered, and these people go through this victim mentality of all the things. Now, did people die? I understand that, and you're giving honor to those people. Okay, I get it, but it was not an atomic attack, guys. It wasn't.
It was. No.
It was big bombs, fire bombs.
Fire bombs. Exactly. Yeah, just planes with fire bombs and phony photography, because you can see the blast radius or the lack of a blast radius. You can see standing structures and all the wood structures burned down, but the cement structures all still standing. People were living there like the next day.
Yeah,
not what we were told.
Yeah, and real quick, that kind of reminds me. I need that open. Let me go. Man survives both nuclear bombs. Have y'all ever heard that? Have y'all ever heard about that? I'm gonna butcher this, but Totsutomu Yamagachi.
Good enough.
Was a Japanese Marine engineer who survived both the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombs during World War II. Think about it, guys. They say it's so big and devastating that it kills everyone, if not with the initial blast, with the shockwave, if not with the shockwave, with the harmful, deadly, poisonous rain of radiation that would cause a endless nuclear winter that we would all die for all times. But this man survived both of them after taking a train ride from one destination to the other. It's that preposterous. And so I feel like I can't stress it enough. It's so preposterous. And they have, again, this victim mentality, right? Oh, wait, real quick. I want to bring that back up. Just because, look, by the way, they said, right, it affects health. Someone do the math for me. He lived from 1916 to 2010. Did he live, what, for 94 years?
Yeah, something like that.
He lived for 94 years. And he survived both nuclear fallouts.
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't the only one. There were many.
Pretty interesting, right?
Yep.
All right, let's check out this one. Here we go. So I'm going to jump over here. This is the tests that they did in Nevada 10 years later from the supposed Hiroshima and Nagasaki blasts. Oh, wait, before we get here, because I feel like we're jumping too far, I want to talk about atoms first. So, where'd that go? Okay. So many of us, atom image. So, I don't remember exactly. Oh, it was you, Robert, pointed out earlier. You were talking about how when you were looking for, pictures of atoms, that you couldn't find them, that you could just find images, and you related that very much to space, or satellites is also a good example. What's funny about this image of a supposed atom is, does it also not just so happen to look like, something, orbiting a body? Couldn't that be like a planet and like a satellite?
But that is what their claim is, that everything on the microcosm happens in the macrocosm.
So it's how convenient.
Yeah. Right.
So not only is on the very smallest thing a center mass with things orbiting it, but on the huge scale, it's the same. And what a coinky-dink that none of that is verifiable, none of that is measurable, none of that is observable.
Yeah, none of those blow up and create organized, complex life either. So,
yes, indeed. And so many people may not know. Oh, look, amazing. First ever photograph inside a hydrogen atom. There you go, guys. And if you believe
first ever photograph.
If you believe this, I got a Golden Gate property in Arizona. Oceanside, baby. It's all yours for free. So, and you know what's weird? Does that not look like an eye of Ra? Like an eye?
Yeah, it looks like an eye and an iris.
Here's another one. Oh, look, real image of a hydrogen atom.
Real image, yes.
Versus what we're taught. Okay. Here's an atom, guys. But wait, what's this? The law of uncertainty? Formulated by the German physicist and Nobel laureate Werner Heisenberg in 1927, the uncertain principles state that we cannot know both the position and speed of a particle, such as a proton or electron, with perfect accuracy. The more we nail down the particle's position, the less we know about its speed, and vice versa. So guys, every time we try to look at an atom, The more we know about its position, the less we know about its speed. The more we know about its position, the less we know how it's about its speed. It's almost like we can't test or verify if it's even there in the first place. How kawinky dinkle. All right. The smallest particle. Let's see here. The ancient Greeks had a name for the smallest particle, the atom, meaning not cuttable. But ever since Ernest Rutherford famously split the atom in experts... Okay, wait. He split an atom? How did he know where it was? Because if he knew its position, he didn't know what speed it was to do... We're talking about a three-body problem now. Okay, if he knows how fast it's going, he doesn't know its position. So how could he possibly split it? How dare you?
He's faster than the atom. That's all.
You know, it's interesting with the whole atom splitting thing, because if I remember correctly, the whole CERN project was about splitting atoms, and I believe their claim was that after the atoms clashed into each other and split apart for a very short time reversed, and they brought themselves back together somehow and continued on their paths. And that was one of their scientific claims, that they pulled themselves from when they existed in the past to the present. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
Let's see. Atoms go back in time.
You could find this.
Let's say CERN, maybe. Yeah, and the whole splitting of the atom, right? What are they giving us? They're giving us these images that are at best horrible, constructed images.
Right. Particles cannot go back to the future, whatever.
So we got.
However, some physicists have speculated that traveling faster than the speed of light is equivalent to traveling backwards in time. Yeah, just a whole bunch of
just more.
All right,
yes.
Let's see what it says. The latest theory of Tom Weiler and Chu-Man Ho is right. The Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest atom smasher, that started regular operation last year, could be the first machine capable of causing matter to travel backwards in time. Our theory is a long shot, admitted Weiler, who is a physics professor at Vanderbilt University. But it doesn't violate any laws of physics or experimental constraints. One of the major goals of the collider is to find the elusive Higgs boson, the particle that physics invoke to explain why particles like protons, neutrons, and electrons have mass. If the collider succeeds in producing the Higgs boson, some scientists predict that it will create a second particle called the Higgs singlet at the same time. According to Wheeler and Ho's theory, these singlets should have the ability to jump into extra fifth dimension, where they can move either forward or backward in time and reappear in the future or past. One of the attractive things about this approach to time travel is that it avoids all the big paradoxes, Wheeler said, because time travel is limited to these special particles. It is not possible for a man to travel back in time and murder one of his parents before himself is born, for example. However, if scientists could control the production of Higgs singlets, they might be able to send messages to the past or future. Oh my god. Okay, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that. I'm not going to keep reading this insanity, but you see they're literally just coming up with these ideas off the seat of their pants, right? Like, this is all groovy psychedelic mind travel. They're not astronauts, they're, psychonauts.
Oh, God. And I like what embassy of Elohim put in the chat. He put fueled by Mr. Trash, and then he said the, in air quotes here, doesn't matter particle. That's true. I mean, it's
yeah,
no matter.
And weren't y'all taught in y'all's age? I know I was in school that the atom was the smallest particle, right? We already read.
Oh, it was.
We already read it.
Now
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying now they're like, oh yeah, then inside the atom there's quarks and leptons, and they have like certain directions and quantum connections to each other, but we don't know how fast they're moving or where they're at.
Yep.
No.
And it's the Higgs boson and the Higgs singlet.
Yeah.
It's so preposterous. They can literally just keep going and keep going. You know what I mean? Just like we see with the opposite when we look at the really big. They can just keep going and keep going. And there's a planet that literally smells like farts. And there's a planet that's made out of all diamonds. And there's a planet where there's ducks with the bills on their butts. You know what I mean? It's like anything is possible through the universe, our creator. Anyway, so here they go. What's the smallest particle? This is from BBC's Science Focus. Let's keep going. It's been clear that the name is a misnomer. He found that atoms contain a central nucleus around 10,000 times smaller than the atom itself, which we know exists because we can't even view an atom. So how are we supposed to look down inside of it and see something that's 10,000 times smaller if we can't even focus on the atom itself? Makes so much sense. By the 1960s, researchers firing electrons at atoms were finding hints that even the protons and neutrons making up the atomic nuclei contain some kind of structure, now known as quarks, trapped inside of them. In the last few years, experiments at the Large Hadron Collider Particle Accelerator have suggested that quarks make themselves be at least 10 times smaller than protons and neutrons. Guys, they just keep going. They can't stop.
Yeah. And it's funny, they do the same thing that they do with space. They're like, yeah, but the distance from the moon to the Earth is 238,000 miles. That's 238 Earths between, or whatever, between. And then they're like, yeah, so the distance between the electron to the neutron of the atom is like 238,000. It's like the same crap where they evoke the same distances, and nothing is testable, nothing is repeatable or provable to any any level of scientific approval.
And they sell it as fact, right? And there might be people who watch this that are angry at us because we're saying, guys, it's not fact, it's not real, it's fake. But they'll be mad at us for saying that. And I sincerely apologize to anyone who feels like we're personally attacking them for talking about this topic and in a mocking, kind of silly way, because it really is silly and it really instills a lot of fear into people's hearts that it shouldn't. And
just like space in the globe, no one's seen it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And it's it's all classified, top secret. You can't read it even if it could, right?
Yep.
And then they have all these good emotional feel-good stories where people made them in their basements, and the government says, hey, you can't do that, and here's a job. Like they have all of these. They have the Manhattan Project, the whole. We recently had Oppenheimer, right? Which was this huge idea of looking at the, how good, and who was it that,
Einstein.
Yeah, well, not Einstein, but I was thinking something else. It's kind of off track, so I'll keep us on a track and skip over that. So this is from a Scientific American. It says, see the highest resolution atomic image ever captured. Scientists achieve a record level of visual detail with an imaging technique that could help develop future electronics and better batteries. So yeah, by looking at just being able to look at atoms, guys, on an atomic image, we're totally able to like be able to make better batteries. Like, don't you understand?
Where are those batteries?
Yeah, whatever. I just it's hard not to mock some of this. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, and you know there is the electron microscope, and that's like kind of their best proof. Of course, we already showed you that that if you look at from then till now, all the different quote unquote images of the atom, they're all different. They all change. Kind of like all the images of the Earth, they're all different. They all change. They're looking at something really big and something really small. And every time they look at them, something is different, and they always change. Kind of see a repeating pattern here, people. Sweet. So let's before we, because this is kind of jumping up in front and future, so we're going to do this article, and then we're going to jump to the atomic news. So it says, why can people live in Hiroshima and Nagasaki now, but not Chernobyl? So see, again, they're trying to connect these two things. And I think, Marcia, I think you mentioned that off the air, but you're talking about how Chernobyl is this lush, beautiful place.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, it has birds and plant life. But it's desolate because they made it desolate. But then you can find people walking around, but they're not living there because they made it a ghost town.
Yeah, well, and they made it illegal. You can't live there, right?
Yeah.
But what's interesting here is look at this. Why can people live in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which they can, but not Chernobyl?
They can. They just made it. They made it desolate. They made it
because they didn't say you can't go back to Hiroshima and you can't go back to Nagasaki. It has nothing to do with the power plant at Chernobyl, and it has nothing to do with the supposed fat man and little boy that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Fat man and little boy.
Anyways, okay, so recovery time from a nuclear disaster, and we're gonna jump to this after we watch some atomic tests. So this is 1955, Nevada tests, the atomic tests. Give me a second. I'm gonna let it buffer a little bit. I am going to put the episode up there. I know that kind of gets in the way, guys, but it's better to do this than just straight up get YouTube grappled. So we're going to play this and play the whole 4 minutes, and then we're going to kind of go back through it. Keep your eyes open. Let's check it out.
The Nevada desert in America is the scene of the latest atomic test. International observers come by invitation to join scientists, military and civil defense authorities making a study of the test. A whole town of specially chosen types of buildings with dummies inside them has been erected to study survival chances in an atomic explosion. Called Doom Town, the buildings and their contents will test the effect of the bomb at distances ranging from 1 to 2 miles. The extent to which food will be contaminated by radioactivity will also be studied, along with the effect of blast on communications. Fully protected cameras concealed inside and outside the buildings will take pictures of the blast scenes. The bomb itself is contained in a device at the top of a tower 500 feet high. Tanks move into the blast area, and officers are to occupy trenches only 2,600 yards from the bomb, the closest ever in a test. Night, and Army personnel with recording equipment wait for 0 hour as others check their cameras. And now the bomb, the marvel and the horror of our time, is exploded. Inside the Holocaust, cameras record the havoc.
Buffering a little bit. I'm going to jump it back just a couple little seconds and continue.
After the fireball, the mountainous mushroom rises from a bomb which was only twice the strength of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, a fraction of the explosion a hydrogen bomb can produce. And now, as the dust settles, army personnel dressed in protective clothing move inwards towards the blast center, checking for radioactivity as they go. Experts now say the communication installations could have been quickly repaired in spite of the severity of the shock and blast waves, and that indoor concrete shelters could have fully protected anyone, even less than a mile away from the bomb. Full reports of the radioactivity surveys are not yet available, but the bomb has been said to have produced a very small fallout. Flying glass and furnishings are proved the greatest hazard outside the immediate blast area. Whatever hopeful signs for mankind's chances of survival can be drawn, it must be remembered that a hydrogen bomb today can be 250 times more powerful than this atom bomb. Surely these pictures prove that if humanity is to survive, all nations today must never cease to work for peace.
Oh my God.
Eerie music, dun dun dun.
Oh man, how are we gonna survive? How are we gonna survive?
How are we gonna survive when we got things that are 250 times big? Did you see those buildings, guys? Did you see how things just turned to dust? Let's go back and take a view at how deadly this is. It's almost like it's not real. Where? Okay, wait. I wanna find the one where it shows inside.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here it is.
Right there. Yeah.
Okay. How did the camera survive, guys?
Camera. Yes.
How did the camera guys didn't even move? Look at people who are in a disagreement. Please watch this and notice that they have a camera inside of the building. Inside of the building.
And those cameras were not either. They were not self-automated at that time.
Oh no, whatever.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so that means people were standing there too.
Okay, so not only were there. All right, here we go. Let's watch inside. Camera does not move.
They built things much better back then.
Say that again, Robert.
They built things like cameras a lot better back then.
Yeah.
It's like why didn't they just build everything in the camera material?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Tinfoil. Shower rods.
Oh.
Okay, where's the one? It may not be in this. There's literally one. Okay, I think it's just going into the blast. Yeah. So, stop. Okay, so let's drop this for now and let's kind of talk about what we just saw.
You mean the fakery?
Yeah. So
or the stupidity?
There was one image, and I can't remember what it. I think that didn't show all of the different clips that they had, and maybe it was in there and I just didn't notice it. But there was literally one where you can see a vehicle behind the building, and then like it goes to the blast scene, and there's no vehicle before it gets disintegrated, and it's like the vehicle just disappears before it should have disappeared. And so yeah, if y'all see that and y'all think that is real, if y'all think that all these buildings and things got destroyed in the manner in which you saw, but the cameras that were filming those explosions were totally okay and intact. I would like for you to give me an example of how that would be possible. And just so
Robert gave you an example. He says they built things better back then, right?
And then built stuff like in Japan and stuff like that.
Oh, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Yeah.
Something happened, it mutated their brain, and so they could just...
Oh.
And so they came up with anime and electronics. Yeah, so guys, there's examples right there of...
the fakery, the garbage,
yeah,
the BS.
So let's watch some more nuke bomb videos. I know that this is labeled Atoms and Nukes, but I feel like I don't know if y'all have something to add about atoms before we fully move on to nukes. I'd love to hear it, because for me it's like, what is there to talk about? They don't even know what it is. They say they know what it is. They say it's the smallest, but then it's this ever-changing thing. So,
right.
Yeah, and it gets even more complex because they're like, is it a photo? Like, what is light? Is light matter? Is, they try to use light as a representation for how matter exists, and they, like the double slit experiment where they claim it acts as a particle, but it acts as a wavelength. Really, if you go back far enough, you can find it, in Greek philosophy and Hindu cultures where they discuss it more on a philosophical idea, because there was no way to prove it then, but they weren't pretending like there was a way like now.
Right. Very good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, it's kind of interesting with them. They just keep double downing on it, right? And it's like, people will say like, okay, well, yeah, they're getting millions and billions of dollars, but, like, who's getting it, right? NASA's getting it. It's not like an individual's just getting that money. Yeah, CERN is. So why would we just spend all these millions and billions of dollars on things like CERN and on things like NASA if they weren't real? And there's lots of answers to that. But what I would bring it back to, mostly because, we're on believer channels, right? Take on the World is a Christian aligned channel. We're here on Circle of the Earth, or obviously our name comes from Scripture. And so let's look to Scripture for these things, and I don't feel like there's an important, the stealing of atom and atom. They say, it just means, uncuttable from the Greek. But again, the uncuttable idea was like, well, yeah, you would get to a point where you couldn't put something in half. Like, you can take a 4-foot log and cut it, and now you have 2, and you can keep cutting things. Well, there's an idea that is this uncuttable thing, which is basically just usurped and repackaged and rebranded for our modern times, and they keep rebranding it, right? The hose Bogon or whatever, Boston, and Hogan's singlet or whatever it was. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, I'm trying to find. I cannot find this again after I looked it up, but we'll come back to that. Okay. So we got we have a handful more videos to watch. Since I guess we kind of jumped forward and I missed this Hiroshima blast. But let's look at this this video. It's kind of long. We're only going to watch a little bit of it. We're not going to watch the full 30 minutes of it, but we're going to check this out for a little bit and see what this nobody really has to say. So let me pull this up. Oh, and I never took the image off. I apologize. So drop camera again, everyone. And I will get this up. Big for everyone. We'll screen it.
This is going to be an amazing video. You really need to watch this all the way through. So years ago, I started analyzing the nuclear bomb and Hiroshima. Hiroshima was the only time a nuclear bomb had ever been deployed. And since then, mankind has lived in fear of utter annihilation and has kept populations in check for 80 years now. So I started breaking this down. I saw a video years ago. If you go back in my channel, there's a man named Galen Windsor who put out this video called the Nuclear Scare Scam. He worked with uranium, turning it into plutonium and refining it back in the early days, and they would literally use their hands and he'd drink it. The pools that they used to cool the nuclear plants, he would swim in it. And he proved and clearly showed that the whole thing has been manipulated and nuclear waste and radiation is nothing of the sort, and we've been misled.
Okay, we're gonna pause it real quick because this goes along with one of our other videos. Dang it, did we get rid of it? I'm gonna have to go to BitChute real quick. Just bear with me, guys.
Don't say we got rid of it. You did.
I got rid of it. Sorry. It was Marsha's fault. She told me to X out of it.
I know. I told you to do that.
Marsha!
Nice. Yeah. It normally takes my stuff this long to load. Okay. I'm gonna drop it from streaming real quick, like this. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, yeah, that sped it up. And we're gonna watch this video, and then we're gonna jump back to the other one. I don't need. Yeah, there's a good short clip. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, Terry
right,
is peculiar. Adam blaming the woman, right? Oh, MSCF Elohim says clear your cache.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, but I also have a lot of stuff saved.
Okay.
I need saved. But all right, here, let's check this out. This is Galen Windsor.
Let's talk a little bit about radiation.
This is Galen Windsor, an American chemist with an impressive CV.
Okay, this is not what I wanted. I apologize.
Pretty sure in my
oh, you did
my
link
list
it.
of links.
Okay,
yeah.
Let me drop this again. I apologize, everyone. Stop streaming. Let me pull that up again. I have to pull up a whole nother window to do that, so just bear with me. Should just take me just a few moments. Grab this one.
No, it's the first one. Galen Windsor.
Yeah, you did. I don't know why it didn't. Maybe I didn't fully click on it. Okay, come on. Oh gosh, I'm showing this to everyone. Okay, let's get rid of. Oh, it's because it's on my main screen.
Well, we can sing. Huh?
Yeah. Speak for yourself, I guess.
Sorry, guys, it's just going so slow right now.
That's all right. Dun 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 dun. The way it's going to go.
There you go.
Perfect. All right, there we go. Grab it.
All right.
Just let me click the link, please. There we go. Click. Okay, perfect. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Put you here. Put you here. And then now I can share it. All right,
And here we go.
Just waiting for it to let me. But there we go. Oh, come on. This may be.
Oh, are you kidding me? It may be inappropriate for some users. Oh God, this might be. Oh.
Why will it not stay full screen? Oh, finally! Oh my gosh! All right, let me see if I can.
Material.
Okay, here we
You
go.
pour it out in the hand, and that's radioactive contamination. Is it radioactive? Yeah, it is. Very radioactive. Now, decontamination is nothing but scooping it back up and putting it into the bottle. I just now decontaminated my hand. No, I didn't do such a good job. Not good at all. Is it still radioactive? Yeah, that's called residual radioactivity. Now, under the decontamination rules of the government, when you decontaminate somebody like this that's that contaminated, and this is certainly a reportable incident under current DOE regulations, when you decontaminate him, it has to go down a controlled drain so that you don't disperse radioactivity. Do I qualify as a controlled drain? That material that I just ate is not soluble in body fluids. Like it's been this. It was fired originally at 940 degrees C, where it becomes U3O8. Known in the industry as HCl insoluble. In other words, it will not dissolve in concentrated hydrochloric acid, hot. Your stomach has 10th normal hydrochloric acid in it, so it won't even dissolve. The stuff is so fine that it has no texture to it. Doesn't even feel rough. So it's tasteless, odorless, has no texture. How is it supposed to hurt me? Because I've been eating this on lecture tour for 2 years, the state of Washington felt it necessary to confiscate my uranium samples so that I would be safe. Dr. Fulton from the Hanford Environmental Health Foundation called up and he says, "Hey, I heard one of your guys OD'd on uranium today, Galen." And we talked for a little while and he says, "Oh, that was you." And I says, "Listen, I can eat all that stuff I want." He says, "It'll ruin your kidneys." "How are your kidneys?" "They're fine." "Well, you should have been chelated within 4 hours. And I mean, you guys are going to follow me around the country and give me chelating agents every 4 hours after I eat it on lecture tour?" He says, "We'll give you any medical assistance that you need, Galen. We don't want anything to happen to you." I said, "Did that include turning out the federal SWAT team 4 days ago to get me?" Where are these guys coming from? Well, here's a piece of metal. Density of 19, 19.0. If you know your chemistry and physics, you
you talking?
Yeah,
I
I apologize. So this is Galen Windsor, guys. Go check him out. You can YouTube him. You can go check it up on BitChute. He's a great man, and he went around it. And, you heard just a little part of his story, but there's over an hour long video of this presentation. And if you're interested, definitely go check him out. It's Galen Windsor. So here you go, Galen Windsor. So go check him out. All right, let's jump back to that other video and keep watching.
Hiroshima really got me wondering how that worked, and I found the Hiroshima Red Cross Hospital was right in the middle of the impact zone. It was full of patients, and everyone in there survived, and they were fine, because come to find out, the Hiroshima was actually carpet bombed. And there's this amazing analysis I'm going to show you in this video here of the proof of exactly how it was conducted, how the hoax was taking place, and you have to watch this video. It's just an amazing breakdown of military documents and the analysis showing that it was carpet bombed, as well as Nagasaki. And enjoy. It's going to be about half an hour long, but I highly recommend watching it. It is full of amazing information, something you've probably never seen, and it's a whole new take on the nuclear missile and Hiroshima. And it's going to put your mind at ease, because if you've ever been worried about the atom bomb and utter annihilation, it's not possible. I'm not saying that there's other bombs or other catastrophic things that could be done to populations, but the atom bomb is not a real thing. Radiation and radioactive activity causing cancer and all of that is not a real thing. So sleep a little better at night knowing that, okay? So anyways, here we go. I'll put it on the movie.
If the H.G. Wells atomic bombs didn't exist, then what destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Let's take a look at the aftermath. Is this Hiroshima? Is this Hiroshima? Is this Hiroshima? What's the difference again between an H.G. Wells atomic bomb and a traditional firebombing again? When we say firebombed or carpet bombed, we mean the land was pelted with M47s and M69s. An M47 is a 100-pound oil gel bomb. Each B-29 bomber carried 182 of them. An M69 is a 6-pound gelled gasoline bomb, 1,520 per aircraft. Also, some B-29s carried high explosives to deter Japanese firefighters. It's easier to count the major cities the United States didn't bomb. 1. Kyoto. Why did the Zionist-controlled United States government spend $2 billion in 1942 money on these very expensive H.G. Wells atomic bombs if carpet bombing worked just fine? Why, to scare the world population and rule us by fear, of course. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were chosen because they were among the last cities standing and were mostly made of wood. A fire could incinerate them to the point of looking like they were vaporized by an atomic bomb. But maybe our eyes deceive us. Maybe we need testimony from an eyewitness.
With his background as a combat pilot, aeronautical designer, engineer, manufacturer, and military strategist, Major Seversky's advanced viewpoint and opinions are of vital importance to every citizen.
After visiting the major areas of the Pacific, I arrived in Japan. I began the study, to which I had been assigned, by making an aerial tour of the islands of Honshu and Kyushu, which encompass the main portion of industrial Japan. I flew over Tokyo, Yokohama, Yokosuka, Nagoya, Osaka, Kobe, Akashi, and dozens of other towns and cities which had been subject to intensive air attack. Some of these towns are so close together that they seem almost continuous industrial sites. All of these areas of annihilation presented approximately the same visual pattern. The smaller towns were totally burned out. Seen from above, the prevailing color was pinkish, the effect produced by the piles of ash and rubble mixed with rusted metal. Similar pinkish carpets were spread out in the larger cities, except that among them stood large and small modern concrete buildings in factory structure, unscathed bridges, and other objects that had withstood the impact. Many of the buildings, of course, were gutted by fire, but this was not apparent from the air. I was keyed up for my first view of an atom bomb city, prepared for the radically new sights suggested by the exciting descriptions I had read and heard. But to my utter astonishment, Hiroshima from the air looked exactly like all the other burned out cities I had observed. There was a familiar pink blot, about 2 miles in diameter. It was dotted with charred trees and telephone poles. Only one of the city's 20 bridges was down. Hiroshima's cluster of modern buildings in the downtown section stood upright. It was obvious that the blast could not have been so powerful as we had been led to believe. It was an extensive blast rather than intensive. I had heard of buildings instantly consumed by unprecedented heat. Yet here I saw the buildings structurally intact, and what is more, topped by undamaged flagpoles, lightning rods, painted railings, air raid precaution signs, and other comparatively fragile objects. At the T-bridge, the aiming point for the atomic bomb, I looked for the bald spot where everything presumably had been vaporized in the twinkling of an eye. It wasn't there, or anywhere else. I could find no traces of unusual phenomena. What I did see was in substance a replica of Yokohama, or Osaka, or the Tokyo suburbs, the familiar residue of an area of wood and brick houses raised by uncontrollable fire. Everywhere, I saw the trunks of charred and leafless trees, burned and unburned chunks of wood. The fire had been intense enough to bend and twist steel girders, and to melt glass until it ran like lava, just as in other Japanese cities. The concrete buildings nearest to the center of explosion, some only a few blocks from the heart of the atom blast, showed no structural damage. Even cornices, canopies, and delicate exterior decorations were intact. Window glass was shattered, of course, but single-panel frames held firm. Only window frames of 2 or more panels were bent and buckled. The blast impact, therefore, could not have been unusual. If Dziesiewski's observations hold merit, that would make 69 Japanese cities carpet-bombed. Or, you could believe the official narrative, that the B-29 Enola Gay flew 31,000 feet in the air and dropped a uranium bomb named Little Boy that detonated 1,900 feet over Hiroshima at 8:16 a.m. on the morning of August 6th and killed 80,000 people instantaneously. Also, you'd believe that the B-29 boxcar flew at an elevation of 30,000 feet with the plutonium bomb Fat Man, which detonated 1,650 feet over Nagasaki at 11:02 a.m. on the morning of August 9th between the Mitsubishi Steel and Arms Works in the south and the Mitsubishi Urakami Ordnance Works in the north, and supposedly killed 40,000 people. General Crawford Sams believed the hype, but not entirely. Sims was a medical doctor, one of 6 men who ran Japan under Douglas MacArthur from 1945 to 1952. He believed the atomic bomb existed, but indicated it was not very effective. He revealed in a 1979 interview that he was ordered to exaggerate its power.
You see, it wasn't being like something in the publicity where a bomb went off and the city disappeared. No such thing happened. That was the propaganda for deterrence.
There was a letter brought over by this first group that came up to Japan from the Philippines with me, from the Manhattan Project.
Hey, what were we just talking about last episode? He said something in it. Oh, propaganda, right? After the fact, we had to say that it was much bigger than it really was. Propaganda.
Propaganda.
It might be one of the most useful pieces of propaganda they have in their belt.
In which the president is looking for a new deterrent against a future war.
Sorry about that. Continue.
Yeah, I was just saying the fear of total annihilation by, somebody in their hands could just destroy your entire state, country, whatever. Like it's nothing, wipe it off the map. Don't even have to send the infantry in. It's just, if it were real, that'd be one thing. But if it's total propaganda and it's not real, then this is psyop. It's fear tactics.
Right.
In wars.
Yep.
That's all they've been saying is we can be nuked. We can be nuked. That's all
Yep, we gotta go into the Middle East. We gotta go into North Korea.
Do this.
We gotta stop them, because if they get nukes, we're all dead.
Weapons of mass destruction. They're like George Bush making jokes about it. He's like, nope, no weapons of mass destruction over here. You know, it is a joke.
It is a joke.
Yeah. So let's keep chucking and see what we got here.
Because air power had failed to prevent World War II. You know, if you have another war, air power will destroy civilization, and it failed because it hadn't even brought Germany to its knees. A strategic bomb survey over there showed that military production had increased actually during our bombings. So the object of this instruction, called Letter of Instruction, was, you will play up the devastating effect of the atomic bomb. Alright, so I was the one who set the deadline this time. Anybody who had been in Hiroshima and died within 6 months, whether they got ran over by a bicycle or whatnot, would be credited to the atomic bomb.
Sounds like Corona.
A cause of death.
Sorry.
Nice devil horns.
Oh, we can't hear you, Vader. Oh, sorry.
To a major event for propaganda. Where have we heard that before? Sams goes on to add that one of us, Norman Trenton somebody, got a priest there to say he guessed 100,000 people died when the bomb went off. Well, you see, it didn't. There never was 100,000 people who died. Okay, so who was this Jesuit priest? Why, he's the Harley guy for the nuclear bomb hoax.
I was in my room, which faces the valley, and suddenly I saw a light, like magnesium light, flashlight, which filled the whole valley. And looking out of my window to find out the reason for this peculiar phenomena, I saw nothing besides this light. And turning from the window to the door of my room, I heard a crash. It may have been 10 seconds after seeing the light, the flashlight. And immediately I was covered with splinters of the window frames and glass sticking into the walls, and actually my flesh itself. After a while, we saw a procession of people coming from the outskirts of the city up the valley. Many of them, most of them, were wounded, especially the parts of the body which were not covered by clothes, like hands, feet, back. All of us who lived through this experience at the spot estimate the numbers of deaths at least as 100,000.
Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
At least Harley guy can remember his lines.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was gonna point out the same thing, but wasn't it funny that the guy did the exact same thing we both pointed out? Well, that I was gonna point out, Marcia, but that you actually did, was the correlation between, you know, them saying anyone that dies in Hiroshima and Nagasaki for the next 40, 60 years, that's going to be attributed to the atomic bomb regardless of which way they die. And of course, beer bug comes straight to her head because we lived that same type of thing here just recently. So another point to those out there who may have an issue with what this topic is about today. Really think about the fact that they just like to reband and use the same game plan over and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, it works. Why not?
And to that last point, right? Like, we have this Jesuit that has this, you know, testimony that is giving such a, you know, a detailed testimony of his experience and the knowledge that he had of the 100,000 death, etc. And just with the, I'm going to play that again, because same thing with those, you know, within the truth community, definitely within the modern time, you've looked at 9/11 as something of a point of interest. And here's that guy from 9/11, the Harley guy. I'm gonna skip back just a little bit and play it again. He just had that perfect explanation queued up to go.
At the spot, estimate the numbers of dead at least at 100,000.
Mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
At least Harley guy can remember his lines.
I'm just standing by right now.
What is your opinion as to the story that the ruins of the city emitted deadly rays?
Well, I think that it's just a rumor. Because I myself and others of us have worked in the city itself immediately after the explosion for several hours, and we felt no ill effect at all.
If there was no harmful radiation, then it wasn't nuclear, was it? So if Hiroshima and Nagasaki were firebombed, when were they firebombed? For Hiroshima, the short answer is the night before. For info, we turn to the 7-volume series titled The Army Air Forces in World War II. It was published between 1948 and 1958 as an official release of the Office of Air Force History. The series editors were Wesley Frank Craven and James Lee Cate. They began work on the series during the war with FDR's blessing. In Volume 5, there is a table detailing the incendiary missions against secondary cities. If we skim down, we see that Imabari was bombed August 5th. Imabari is only 35 miles from Hiroshima. According to the 1977 history book, Ruin from the Air, tonight, as usual, the monitors had indications that Japan was in for another brutalizing series of raids. 30 bombers were en route to Japan to drop mines in the inland sea. 65 bombers were coming to bomb Saga. 102 planes were about to launch an incendiary attack on Maebashi. 261 bombers were heading for the Nishinomiya Mikaje area. 111 bombers were bound for Ube, 66 for Imabari. 66 bombers were bound for Imabari on the night of August 5th, and 111 bombers bound for Ube. Imabari was bombed twice already beforehand, once April 26th and the second time on May 8th. The book Inferno by Edwin Palmer Hoyt confirms these attacks, but also leaves doubt as to whether Imabari was completely razed by the time August 5th rolled around. If this were true, it would make bombing Imabari unnecessary. Hoyt includes a conversation on a train that is often cited by my fellow truthers to show that all 66 planes passed over Imabari and bombed Hiroshima. In the conversation, one man notices that Imabari is not listed on the timetable, and another gentleman asserts that Imabari had burned up, and that his father had a drapery business that burned up too. He said everybody was dead. But there was no train stop in Imabari because there was no train station. According to the Japanese magazine Ehime Prefectural Modern History, issued on February 29, 1988, in the early morning of May 8th, the same year, 1945, there was a second air raid, and the area around Imabari Station was hit by waves 8 times before and after, killing 29 people, seriously injuring 4 people, and damaging 140 houses. But the whole city had not burned up. And according to Imabari City War Disaster Reconstruction magazine of 1971, the city was indeed bombed on August 5th. The third air raid lasted for a long time, from 11:50 p.m. on August 5th to 1:30 a.m. on the following day, August 6th. On the night of August 4th, the bombing of Imabari City was announced by leaflets dropped from the enemy plane. On August 5th, the explosion sound approached greatly from the upper side of the city in the fear of anxiety of the citizens, and it became a rain of fire with the explosion sound in about 60 large bombers. It was attacked by incendiary bombs and small bombs about 10 times for about an hour and a half. Planned bombings were carried out one after another with explosive sounds and flashes, and in about 10 minutes the entire city became a sea of fire. The big fire invited a big wind like a typhoon, made a noise and shook the earth, and the citizens inhaled smoke. On this day, the city center of Imabari was almost destroyed. Between 340 and 454 people were killed. 34,200 people, which is 63% of the 54,341 population, were affected. 5.98 million square meters became scorched earth. The problem here is, in spite of Imabari being bombed on August 5-6, it wouldn't take 66 bombers to cause this type of damage to this smallest city, and only kill 454 people. It's still possible that some of these bombers passed over the city and bombed Hiroshima. However, I propose that the real Hiroshima bombers were the B-29s heading for Ube the very same night. If we flip back to Ruin from the Air and cross-reference each city attacked on August 5th with the table from Army Air Force's World War II, I should expect to see every city on the list. We have Saga, Maebashi, Nishinomiya, Imabari, but no Ube. When was Ube last bombed? July 1st. The napalm created a firestorm. So where did those 111 bombers disappear to that flew out of Guam the night of August 5th? According to the book Final Assault on the Rising Sun by Chester W. Marshall, these planes were targeting an Ube oil refinery. The Ube plant was one of the few plants that remained in high production in Japan until we, the 315th Bomb Wing, came along. It was not only destroyed on August 5th, but also sunk when the surrounding dikes were breached and the area inundated. Apparently, an oil refinery is enough to warrant 111 bombers, but not enough to secure a spot on the Army Air Force's table of bombed cities. How big was this oil refinery? Here's the before. Here's the after. It's an area of 281 acres. 111 bombers for 281 acres of land, and combustible land at that. I don't think so. Where is Ube on the map? 75 miles from Hiroshima. Recap. It took 111 bombers to destroy an oil refinery and 66 to attack the small city of Imabari? We need a closer look at this. For comparison, let's look at Tokyo. On March 10th, it took 279 B-29s to set fire to 10,112 acres in Tokyo and kill 100,000 people. That's
I'm gonna let it finish this comparison, and then we're gonna just kind of play a few of the other videos and talk about it. Yeah, let's just finish this comparison, and then we'll move on.
279 planes set fire to 10,000 acres to kill 100,000 people. Imabari was 66 planes for 1,477 acres, which killed 454 people. Proportionally, with the number of planes and acreage burned, the damage to Imabari would have required 40 B-29s. 66 minus 40 leaves 26 left over. Let's set that number aside for now. Hiroshima had a 5 square mile area of fire damage. That's 3,200 acres. If we plug in Tokyo's numbers, each B-29 should be able to damage 36 acres. If we take Hiroshima's 3,200 acres and divide it by 36 acres that a B-29 is capable of burning, we get 89. It would take 89 B-29s to make Hiroshima look like Tokyo. 26 from Imabari's mission, 63 from Ube's. Or, for sake of secrecy, take all 89 from Ube's. 111 minus 89 would leave 22, and 22 B-29s would be ample to blow up the refinery. The United States had air superiority. There was little to no resistance from Japan at this time. Now, in regard to secrecy, each B-29 had an 11-man crew. Only the pilot would need to know where he's going. And not even all the pilots. Many would follow the squad leader. Because they're flying at night and the majority of the crew are young men of frat boy age, they wouldn't necessarily notice where they were going. They've been bombing Japan for a year. It's another day at the office. The crew who were supposed to know? Well, even the dumbest of accomplices can manage to keep silent under threat of death. The fact remains, the damage on the ground does not justify the firepower in the air, and these additional planes can't account for where they were as early as 7 hours before Hiroshima is set to be nuked. They're not flying in circles. Just to really drive home the point, let's get a second confirmation.
We can't hear you if you're talking.
Really great video. We're going to end it there at that. Go check out Nobody Really if you want to finish it up. And I have, if y'all see, I'm going to bring this over real quick just to give an update to everyone on a couple things server-wise. Pull this up over here. Do y'all see that now? No, y'all are not seeing that. Okay, well, the Discord is, the link is under construction, so I'm going to have that soon where we'll, if you join the Discord in the link in the description below, you'll be able to get all the links to all the videos and articles that we read for these videos. So look out for that. That's coming soon on Discord. Sweet. Okay, sorry. I wanted to show that, but I couldn't. What was the other thing I was going to bring up? Let's get rid of that. Sweet. Okay, yeah. So let's kind of talk about the things that he did. So what I'd like to say about what we just watched. Let's get rid of this. Bring cameras back on. So one thing that I would like to talk about is the fact that that this is at least a disputed fact, right? So it's not just a conspiracy with no evidence, nothing to stand upon. There are multiple angles of facts leading that not only are these historical accounts wrong, but in the manner in which they have been told is also wrong. Example being the radiation and the devastation that it causes to wildlife, and yet nobody ever moving away from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The sparrow population never changing, right? The frog population never changing. Was buildings destroyed? Absolutely. Did they use bombs? Absolutely. But did they split some atom in such a way that it caused this insane vaporized devastation like we saw in the New Mexico testing of it, just everything just being vaporized? And so obviously not. I think it's evident or at least I say not obviously not. It's easy to to come to the conclusion that it's at least a disputed point. And if you can come at least to the knowledge that it's a disputed point, then you can also start looking at this information, at this evidence from a neutral standpoint. So what
it has reasonable doubt. It has reasonable doubt. And that's in the law. They tell you if there's reasonable doubt, go the other direction, right? This is definitely reasonable doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta, start at a neutral place and just start checking things out. If you haven't got your eyes opened already. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's probably a lot of people who have came across this information and take the same type of view that we do here, or coming to that side. But it's disputable. There is a reasonable doubt, and that should lead any true seeker to dig deep into that subject. So, any thoughts there, Robert or Kyle?
Yeah, I think. I think it not only casts reasonable doubt, but I guess it just kind of throws it in the same basket as everything else we discuss, where you see some of the same characters, the same faces, the same places, and they're doing the same things. And if it's if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it must be a duck. But I think the evidence just speaks for itself, and people just look into it. That's all I can say. Whether or not you are neutral on the subject or not, because just like in closed cosmology, I wasn't neutral on that. I was totally on the other side of that. But with enough evidence, I can come to see the truth, just like anyone else who has an open mind and an open heart can do so.
Yeah, and to be fair, right, you also had to humble your heart. You had to humble your mind, your consciousness, to be like, you know what, I may be wrong on something that I've held truth with vigor, right? You held it as vigor. You sought out that information. You you know, people often pride themselves in the knowledge of that information. We see that now even more so as people who've come out of those ideologies. And so, yeah, I think you make great points. What are your thoughts, Robert? I know you were kind of, you know, you haven't really thought about these topics or these subjects, or, you know, even the you know, the ideas that they're fake or, you know, exaggerated. Kind of looking at some of the evidence tonight from what you were thinking. What's some of your thoughts about it now?
I don't know. Really, just say. I know I've heard that before about the bombing not being nuclear bombs, but large TNT or whatever type of bombs, carpet bombing and all that. Is it possible to have a nuclear bomb? I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I still like to go back to the whole thing about what are we talking about? What was the bombing the dome?
Oh, the Operation Dominic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see, like I said, I think they have bombs. I think they could have done Operation Dominic and it not have to be a nuclear bomb.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even with a hydrogen bomb, right? Like they're talking about it like it's some type of like, again, has something to do with an atom or something. But hydrogen definitely when it's compressed is extremely volatile. So yeah, you can make really big explosions when you take certain materials and put them in high stress environments. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying they almost apply. One second. I'm saying that they basically apply to nuke this godlike characteristic, them separating this, you know, unimaginable small thing into half. And when they do that, it causes this unfolding of all this energy, right? And that's again based upon E=mc² from Albert Einstein. And we've already kind of looked at that, right? And saw how fallible and how incorrect that information is, at least from observable reality. And so the fact that the whole nuclear bomb and its foundation being, you know, the law of the theory of special relativity even makes it more questionable already. So just some food for thought. Oh yes, I can remove the overlay. I just read that. Apologize. And boom. Sweet. All right. Well, let's check the time, Ola. I think we got a few minutes left. Yeah. We had about 5 minutes left. And I don't know for y'all, like I know we played that video quite a bit, but time flies, man. Like that was, you know, I feel like we hit a lot of spots and we could do multiple episodes about this and bring even more evidence. And don't y'all feel like that with every episode?
We didn't even hardly touch on it.
We skim across, you know, and it's kind of
always is.
And Marsha was there for a lot of season one. Not so much Robert, and Robert was there for some, but not so much them, which is totally fine. But in that, we did the same thing with Scripture, right? We skimmed over it, and same thing, like with when seeking the truth. There's so much gravy just on that very top layer, but the gravy is so deep. So in each of these topics, whether in season one when we're talking about the scriptures or now in season two when we're talking about conspiracy theories, you can dig deep and find truths and find ways that you can bring light unto others and truth unto others. Because when you really look at it, the truth is so fun and is so interesting and it is so valuable into each and one of our own lives. And that's why, like, the puzzle piece is like, our thing, right? We have all these puzzle pieces, all these truths that we each have, that we should be able to come together, whether we disagree, whether our puzzle pieces don't look like they connect to others. We should be able to come together in brotherly and sisterly love and share those pieces and have those discussions. And we'll all be better for it. We'll all be sharper for it. So let's go ahead and say goodbye to everyone, and we'll call it a night. We'll start with you, our dear sister Marcia.
Good night, everybody. It's been fun, and this time the time went oof. It did go fast.
Sure did. Sweet. All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to be with you and fellowship with you. Until next weekend, we'll jump over to Robert.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody. See you next time. You gonna be doing the after show?
I will. Okay, so great caveat. I wanted to share that. I'll go ahead and share that now. So here's the next schedule for the next 4 episodes. We're going to be talking about. Let me pull this up. We're going to be talking about next Saturday, which is April 27th. We're going to be talking about asteroids. Following that up, and then following Saturday, we're going to be talking about dinosaurs. And then following that on Saturday, the 11th of May, we're going to be talking about evolution. And then we'll be ending this like 4-part chunk with talking about viruses. So hopefully y'all think that's kind of cool, because it is, if you kind of look at it, the pictures on the left go together. And then over on the right, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing the Peace Seekers series, where we're reading the 12 Testament, the testaments of the 12 patriarchs. Oh my gosh! And we're gonna be finishing the last 4, which is gonna be Gad, Asher, Joseph, and then Benjamin. And again, that's Sundays at 4 p.m. if you want. And all that is a quick reading of the chapters, and then a quick discussion of the chapter, and that's the episode. So it could be a big or long episode depending on how many chapters and how big those chapters are. So if you're interested in reading the 12 patriarchs with me for the first time, check that out. So thanks for that, Robert. There is the new schedule. I'll be making a community post of this soon. Sweet. So let's jump over to you, Kyle. Always a pleasure to have you, brother. Glad that you're back. Hope you're excited for the schedule I just showed. And love to hear you say your goodbyes.
Yeah, shalom, everyone. You know, as Hosea says, our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, or our people perish for lack of knowledge. I think all of this information is knowledge that we should know, so that when the deceptions and the wiles of the devil are tried to use against us, we have in our belt some type of shield and defense to, you know, be able to tell what's real and what's fake. And I think all of this information is important, so no matter how some people might feel about it, I think it needs to be put out there so people can make their own decisions and judgments on it. With that, shalom, everyone.
Shalom indeed. Sweet. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed, guys. Please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really does, again, help the channel grow. And we're up to 1167, so thank you and hello to all the new recent subscribers as we're on our forever march to 1170 and beyond to 2000. So it was good to see you all. Shabbat shalom, or shalom, and until next time, remember that ABBA loved you first. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
It's your glory, conceal the mystery. You give us the honor to search a matter. You raise up a standard Did